Well, so tonight you're looking at Sutras 15 and 16 in chapter 1. So up till now, we've seen that yoga stills the waves of the mind, right? So peace of mind or silence in the mind. And we saw the different types of thoughts. And then last week, we started to see how do we stop the mind. So one is through consistent practice. So we had a little bit of homework to do some practice. So maybe, I see some nods. Wow, good. We tried to the irregular. You did your posture? Not every day. That's the start, right? You missed two, 5 out of 7. So you did 5, right? The mind says I missed 2. The mind doesn't say I did 5. So that's very good. So we have to have consistent and regular practice. And so this is the Abhyasa. And then there's the second quality with our consistent practice, which is what we'll talk about tonight, Vairagya or Dispassion, non-attachment. So I'll read a little bit from Swami Vishnu here. So verse 15, this is the translation. Vairagya or non-attachment is that state of consciousness in which the cravings for objects, both seen and unseen, controlled through mastery of the will. So we can control the cravings for everything that we see around us. Because we think this will bring me happiness, that will bring me happiness. But does it actually bring us closer to our goal? So I start with just a fun example. If you're familiar with Paw Patrol, in French, le Paw Patrouille. So this is just some kind of cartoon characters, right? And whenever we go to the grocery store, my son, he's 5, they have a little magazine rack and they have coloring books of Paw Patrol. And he always wants one. And he's like, no. And then what happened the other day on, I think it was Sunday, with the kids, we had a rainy day and we cleaned out the whole toy room. And I opened a drawer. There were like 5 Paw Patrol coloring books. So he already has them. So he wants more, but he's not even using the ones he has. And this is a 5-year-old, so it's forgivable. But then, what about us? Do we do the same thing? I want this, one more thing and I'll be happy. But what about all those other one more things we've already gotten? Did they actually make us happy? And this is Vairagya. We can ask the questions. If it makes us happy, like it fulfills us, great, go for it. But sometimes, like, we get it. I got a new lawnmower today. But now, am I happy or do I want to get some better lawnmower next week, right? So it's hard to be just content with what we have. And this is part of the Vairagya. Do I need it? If we're talking about external things, and will it bring me closer to myself? So let's see what Swami Vishnu has to say. Non-attachment is a state of mind. It is indifference to objects of the world. It involves being unaffected by the pull of likes and dislikes, the Raga-Dvesha. So we run to what we like, and we run away from what we don't like. Except, as I think we've already mentioned, sometimes the things that are good for us, they taste bitter at first. And the things that aren't good for us, they taste sweet at first. So sometimes we're not seeing clearly as to what's actually helpful. It's what I like, but not always what's good for me. So whenever the mind acquires a taste for a particular sensation of pleasure, it becomes attached to it. This is normal. I eat something that's yummy. I want more. The mind recalls the experience and desires repetition of it. It is this craving that creates pain. The state of Vairagya does not necessarily mean the cessation of life in society. It involves separating oneself from the binding emotions of that life. So, you can renounce the world and become a monk and live in a cave. And I think he talks about that a little later. It says, if you like strawberry ice cream, you could tape your mouth shut and tie your hands behind your back, but you're still going to crave the ice cream. So it's not so much the restraining, it's just not being attached to it. And, sometimes we're so attached. I got to have a massage the other day. I was in some pain and I went for a massage. You know what I was thinking about during the massage? When could I get another one? Not, wow, this feels great, and it being in the present moment, but when is the next one, right? So this is unhealthy attachment. And I swore once. It was that good of a massage. Is the mind always craving more? Because those desires could never be fulfilled. Then we have misery. But if we could just appreciate what we have while we have it, then we're not attached to it. And if it comes again, great. And if it doesn't come again, that's fine too. That could be a way we can start to practice this Vairagya, is through being content with what we have. And knowing more isn't always going to make us feel good. So renunciation is a great aid to the attainment of Vairagya. Giving up objects of the senses, the mind is quickly stilled. So then we can give ourselves little challenges. I'm not going to have sugar for a week or a month, or salt. If there's a snack you really like, just take a break from it. And so it's just training the mind, building discipline. It doesn't mean we can't come back to it, but maybe we can not be as attached to it. And, a big one is coffee. I see this a lot, like at the ashram. People come to the ashram and then they're like, they don't have no problem. And then after a day, they're like, where's my coffee? I can't function. So we don't always see how stuck we can be on one thing or on another thing. So just having those little pauses also shows us how attached we might be. And then, maybe that's a good one to work on, whatever it is. So non-attachment is not synonymous with not having. One can own nothing and yet be full of desires. If a person is fond of cherry ice cream, binding his hands and taping his mouth will not keep his mind from dwelling on this truth. So it's not to not have things, it's to be able to let them go. Everything that we own takes up space in the mind. It makes the mind busy. So if we can, somebody asks me for, the sweater, we give the sweater like this, then we're not attached to it. It's not going to get in our way. So this is a start on Vairagya, or non-attachment, or dispassion. The deeper level, though, is, what is my goal in life, right? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And do the things that I'm attracted or attached to bring me closer to my goal or not? And, that's kind of the bigger one. That's the harder one. And then, we start looking at other things going on in life, some of our bigger habits, cravings. Do these help me connect to myself? Do they take me away from myself? And, then we start practicing something called viveka, which is discrimination, to start to see more clearly, is this actually helpful for me? And for that, we have to be able to take a step back, observe the situation. So the meditation helps, the breathing exercises, the asanas, all of this helps us take a step back so we can observe the situation a little bit more clearly. So look at the next sutra. This is number 16. The highest state of non-attachment stems from awareness of Purusha. It renounces even the three qualities of nature, tamas, rajas, and sattva. So the highest state is when we're not attached to the physical or outward world, and we can connect to the inner self. They call here the Purusha, so our higher self. Otherwise, we're in what's called prakriti, or the mundane world. And that's dominated by what they call the three gunas. So we'll just touch on that a little bit tonight. The three gunas are three qualities of nature that make up everything. And they are tamas, which is kind of inertia, stillness, but darkness. Rajas, which is excitement, movement, energy, projection of the mind. And sattva, which is balance or equanimity. And so we say tamas, we don't want to be in this dark space, but a rock has tamas. And a rock, it's stillness. My house is built out of concrete blocks. So rocks aren't bad. We need some of that. We're in a state of tamas kind of when we're sleeping. So we need a little bit. But we don't want to be overcome by it. That's more like in depression. When we're in tamas, when we're feeling down, even the best thing, someone says you won the lottery, and then you're like, oh no, that's going to be so hard on me now because I have to think of what to do with this money. Like we can't even see that as good. In rajas, this is that energy, stillness, excitement. Too much, our mind is overwhelmed. But if you ever, like to swim in a river or sit in moving water, that's rajas also. So again, it's not good or bad, but too much of that stimulation, excitement, that's the mind running all over the place. And then sattva, the last one, is balance, peace, equanimity. And even this, we can be very passionate. I want to just sit and meditate all day, but we can get attached to that. We can get attached to, feeling good, feeling peaceful. But even that, they say we have to surpass. We want to head towards a state of sattva. And we do that by, when we're feeling low or tamasic, we need some rajas, right? So if we don't have a lot of energy, we have to move. That's why we start the yoga class with sun salutations. We build up our energy. And then as we start to get the rajas, the energy, then we need to focus it towards sattva. It's like you have a piece of clay and you want to shape it into a beautiful statue of Hanuman. You have this inert clay. You have to start kneading the clay, right? You bring in some rajas, some movement, maybe some water, and then you shape the clay into the statue. So these are the three gunas, very small introduction to these three qualities. For more, read the whole Bhagavad Gita. Maybe that'll be our next series. But even the state of sattva, or peace of mind that we're trying to get to, we can get attached to that. And the scriptures say that even that has to be let go of to attain the goal of realization. So it's not to be stuck on where we are, even if we're feeling good, it's to even let go of that feeling, but we have to get to that place first before we can let go of it. So this is the beginning of Vairagya. So just a little bit more. Or no, we'll give a little description, another nice description from Srinivas, who's a teacher of mine. So we talk about, will this make me happy? Will something come closer to our goal? So in the first sutra we read tonight, we need the discrimination. We have to have the Abhyasa, the practice to think about it. And then in Sutra 2, it kind of happens automatically, the Vairagya. So I'll give the example. Normally I shave my head. I'm due for it. But let's say I have a shaved head or I'm bald right now. And then I go into the pharmacy, right? I go into Jean Coutu in Quebec, or Pharmaprix, or Shoppers Drug Mart in Ontario, or I don't know what they have in the States, but I'm sure you have a pharmacy, yeah? Yes. So let's say I'm bald. I walk into the pharmacy and there's shampoo. And not is it just the best shampoo, but if you buy one bottle, you get 10 bottles for free. Am I going to want to buy the shampoo? No, I'm bald. I don't need shampoo. This is the ultimate state of detachment, or Vairagya, Dispassion. It just isn't going to help me. So I don't care for it at all. I know it's not going to bring me closer to my goal. And we can try to look at things around us like that. You know, the type of food we're eating. Does this help me connect with myself or not? The habits I mentioned, you know, sometimes we can get stuck on, different kind of books or movies or things on TV. And, a little bit is fine, but is this helping me feel good, connect to self, if that's what we're looking for? And if you're here and meditating and listening to the lectures, probably there's some desire to connect with self. We can start to observe, are these things helping me? And if they are, great. And if they're not, right, then over time, we start to lose interest in them. This is the practice of Vairagya, and we start to find interest in things that are nurturing us. So maybe this week, it's to look at one or two things. It could be around diet. It could be around media, social media, time on the internet, TV. These are good things to look at. Is this making me feel good? And sometimes, you get off the phone after an hour and you're like, what did I just do with my life? That was a waste of time. And then the viveka, discrimination, comes in. And then next time we look at the phone, we say, maybe I don't want to do this. And then we have dispassion. I don't want that anymore. And the last thing I'll say, I took the yoga therapy training with Shivananda Yoga a few years ago. And one of the teachers, she said, okay, everyone, take out your phone. And she said, either for an iPhone or Android, here's how you look at your usage. And it showed you which apps and how much time a week you spent on each one. And then it was like automatically deleted Facebook from my phone. And then once I saw the amount of time I was spending there, and it didn't bring anything to me, just deleted. I had no more attachment to it. So sometimes just seeing clearly, even for a moment, we can find that Vairagya or dispassion, and then you're not wanting to look anymore. Oh, so there's some good homework. Look it up in your phone. If it's phone for you, it might be something else, but you could take a look. How much time in the last few weeks have I spent on each given app? If it's Google Maps and you're driving a lot, that app is fine. But sometimes it's astonishing when we don't see actually how much time am I spending here. And then once we see it, I I don't want that. Then we don't care for it anymore. So this is a way to start the practice of Vairagya. So that's our lecture for tonight. Next week, we start looking at different states of enlightenment. So get ready. We're all going to be enlightened, as I've said, by the end of this program. Om Namah Shivaya.